It is 9:47 on a Thursday night. You are sitting in your car outside a Coles in Parramatta. Your receipt says $86.40. Your CommBank app says minus $312, and you can feel that quiet shame in your chest before you even start the engine. And I want you to hear this properly. You are not lazy. You are not bad with money. You are not behind because everyone else secretly has life figured out. You are trying to build wealth in a country where rent, electricity, groceries, tax, HECS, insurance, and mortgage rates all take their bite before your future gets a chance. By the end of this, you will know exactly how society quietly judges you at every net worth level from minus $50,000 to $10 million, and more importantly, what the next practical move is at each stage so you stop measuring yourself by someone else's house, car, or Instagram trip to Noosa. Here is the villain. The ATO takes its cut through brackets that jump from 16% to 30% once taxable income passes $45,000, then Medicare takes another 2%. The RBA cash rate is sitting at 4.35%, so the banks still price stress into your mortgage and personal loan repayments. ABS data has inflation at 4.6% for the year to March 2026, while wages rose 3.3%. That means even when your pay goes up, your purchasing power can still go backwards. Electricity alone was up 5% over the year to April. This is not in your imagination. The numbers are squeezing you. And the harsh part is that Australia still talks about money like outcomes are purely personal choices. They are not. Negative gearing, bank serviceability rules, bracket creep, rent bidding, and super fees all shape the ladder before you even put your foot on it. That does not mean you have no power. It means you need cleaner numbers than the people judging you. At minus $50,000 net worth, society acts like you are reckless. But sometimes minus $50,000 is not recklessness. It is a help debt, a car loan on a 2019 Corolla, dental work Medicare did not cover, and 2 years of rent in Melbourne where the landlord lifted the price because they could. The trap here is believing debt means identity. It does not. Your job is not to become rich this month. It is to stop the bleeding. If you owe $50,000 at 11%, that debt costs about $5,500 a year before you reduce a cent. Your first win is turning chaos into a repayment order. At $0 net worth, people call you broke, but zero is underrated. Zero means you have climbed out of the hole. You might still be renting in Brisbane, using an old iPhone, skipping Uber Eats, and feeling miles behind your mates who bought in 2020. But you are no longer going backwards. A lot of Australians never notice this moment because it does not look impressive. There is no photo for it, but moving from minus $50,000 to zero is a $50,000 achievement, and society gives you no applause for it. At $50,000 net worth, society starts calling you responsible, but only quietly. This might be $18,000 in emergency savings, $27,000 in super, and $5,000 in ETFs through the ASX. You still feel poor because one big AGL bill, one rego notice, or one bond payment can knock you around. But here is the reset. You are already ahead of the person who earns more than you and spends every dollar to look comfortable. On $85,000 salary, after resident tax and Medicare, your rough take-home pay is about $67,000 a year, or $5,583 a month before any help, repayment. Saving $600 a month from that is not small. It is discipline. At $100,000 net worth, society finally stops seeing you as financially messy. You are not wealthy yet, but you are dangerous in a good way because compounding can actually start helping you. Maybe you have $45,000 in super, $25,000 cash, and $30,000 in VAS or IVV. This is where people make the mistake of celebrating by upgrading everything at once. They get the new Ranger, the bigger rental, the Bali trip on Afterpay, and suddenly $100,000 feels like $10,000. The warning is simple. Lifestyle creep is most dangerous the moment you first feel safe. At $250,000 net worth, society thinks you are doing well, even if you still feel ordinary. This is the teacher in Adelaide with $110,000 in super, $80,000 saved for a deposit, and $60,000 invested. It is not glamorous. It is packed lunches, automatic transfers, shopping the specials at IGA, and saying no to weekends that cost $900. Grattan's wealth work shows a typical young household, aged 25 to 40, had about $238,000 in total net wealth. So if you are around this level before 40, you are not behind. You are around the centre of the pack, and possibly ahead once debt is under control. On $120,000 salary, the ATO and Medicare leave roughly $90,812 or $7,568 a month before help. At this level, tax planning starts mattering. Salary sacrificing $5,000 into super may cost you less in take-home pay than you expect because concessional super is taxed at 15%, not your marginal rate. At $500,000 net worth, society calls you successful, but you may still feel trapped. In Sydney, $500,000 can just be a deposit, stamp duty, super, and a buffer. In Perth or Hobart, it can feel like real options. This is where the banks become both helper and villain. NAB, Westpac, ANZ, and CommBank will lend based on serviceability, but they also test whether you can survive higher repayments. If you borrow $700,000 at 620% over 30 years, principal and interest is about $4,287 a month. The bank may say yes, but your nervous system may say no. Listen to both. At $750,000 net worth, society thinks you have made it because the number sounds huge, but this is often the awkward middle. You may have $300,000 home equity, $190,000 in super, $45,000 cash, and the rest in shares, while still arguing over whether the Coles mince is too dear. This level feels strange because you are wealthy on paper and cautious in real life. That caution is not failure. It is the correct response when one redundancy, one rate rise, or one family crisis can still change the whole year. At $1 million net worth, society calls you rich, but in Australia, $1 million is often not a yacht. It is a 3-bedroom place in an outer suburb, $180,000 left on the mortgage, $210,000 in super, $40,000 cash, and a Toyota with 160,000 kilometres. The ABS average household wealth figure is over $1.5 million, but averages are dragged up by people with serious property and business assets. So if you are near $1 million and still feel normal, that is because you are. You have built stability, not extravagance, and stability is worth more than applause. At $2 million net worth, society assumes you have no problems. That is wrong. You have better problems. You worry about land tax, insurance, investment concentration, aging parents, school fees, and whether your super is in a high-fee fund eating $3,000 a year without asking permission. I have seen this happen with people who looked wealthy from the outside but had nearly everything tied up in one house. They had $2 million on paper and no cash when the hot water system died. At this level, liquidity matters. Wealth that cannot move can still make you anxious. Here is the reframe most people miss. Society does not judge your net worth. It judges your visible spending, then invents a story about your net worth afterwards. Person in the financed $92,000 Land Cruisers looks richer than the person quietly adding $400 a fortnight to super, even though one is buying status and the other is buying time. Australia rewards the appearance of wealth at the barbecue long before it, rewards actual wealth in your balance sheet. At $5 million net worth, society starts treating you like you must have cheated somehow. Maybe you own a business in Geelong, 2 investment properties, a paid-off home, and a large super balance. But this is also where mistakes get expensive. The wrong structure, the wrong insurance, or ignoring capital gains tax can cost 6 figures. You do not need to become paranoid. You need a proper accountant, a documented investment plan, and enough humility to realize that complexity is not sophistication. At $10 million net worth, society calls you elite, but money has changed jobs. It is no longer mainly there to buy things. It is there to protect choices, family, time, health, and privacy. At this level, your biggest risk is not skipping the cheapest petrol. It is ego. It is lending money to relatives without paperwork. It is backing a mate's cafe because you feel guilty. It is thinking you are too smart to lose. $10 million can disappear faster than people think when pride starts making decisions. But most Australians do not fail because they cannot do maths. They fail because money is emotional. You avoid opening myGov because the ATO feels scary. You leave super in 3 accounts because consolidation feels like admin. You panic sell ETFs when the ASX drops 8% because it feels like danger, not a discount. You compare your rented unit in Footscray to a friend's renovated place in Cronulla and forget they may have parental help, a larger mortgage, or no emergency fund. That feeling is not stupidity. It is scarcity talking. Once you can name it, you can interrupt it. One more reset before the practical bit. If you are watching this with only $3,000 saved, you are not disqualified from the ladder. You are on the ladder. The person who knows their numbers and changes one behaviour this week is in a stronger position than the person earning $180,000 who refuses to look. In Australian money, awareness is an asset because every silent leak you find is money you no longer have to earn twice under pressure, after tax, with rent due and bills coming again. So here is what you can do this week. First, open myGov and check your ATO help and super details, not next month, this week. You need one clear number for what you owe and one clear number for what you own. Second, log into your super fund, whether it is Australian Super, Hostplus, ART, UniSuper, or another fund, and check your fees, insurance, investment option, and whether your employer is paying the 12% super guarantee. If something looks wrong, raise it with payroll and the ATO. Third, set up one automatic transfer for the next payday. It can be $25 to debt, $50 to savings, or $100 to your brokerage. The amount matters less than making the behaviour automatic because automation protects you from the version of you who is tired on Friday night. The truth is, in Australia, wealth is not the number people clap for. It is the quiet distance between your choices and anybody else's control. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you want straight Australian money conversations that help you build that distance one decision at a time.